YouTube says it has had enough of vaccine misinformation on its site.
And false stories from phony sites to run circles around major news outlets.
Many people don't know the difference between something real and something created to deceive them.
Open your eyes.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie. I want to express my deep gratitude to President Trump, the Vice President, and the entire White House, who have been so incredibly supportive with both resources and just personally to the FBI as a team. Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk. Rest now, brother. We have the watch. And I'll see you in Valhalla. And I'll see you in Valhalla. And I'll see you in Valhalla.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show, and I'll see you in Valhalla. Some of you may remember the speech given by Kash Patel, the FBI director, after we caught, of course, the shooter after a 33-hour manhunt, and Newsweek was just so kind as to put that clip up, cutting out all the middle pieces, but making sure they put in that 33-hour manhunt along with his final salute to Charlie Kirk by saying, "I'll see you in Valhalla." And some of you may have heard about this already, but if you haven't, you definitely need to share this video and listen to some of the information in it. Now, I'll be giving you more information probably than you've gotten in some quick TikTok videos in regards to what they're referencing here and, of course, Goat Island. But let's just begin at the beginning with all this stuff. This was the salute given from Kash Patel to Charlie Kirk. And right before that speech, when Charlie Kirk was actually shot, some of you may not have noticed, but Alex Jones, when it was announced that Charlie Kirk had been shot, but nobody knew if he was alive or dead, this is what Alex Jones said on his show. And he said, if he does die, he's going straight to Valhalla.
Well, if he does die, he's going straight to Valhalla. That's a real warrior king's death right there.
Sword in hand.
Well, if he does die, he's going straight to Valhalla. That's a real warrior king's death right there. He's going straight to Valhalla.
So it's interesting that Alex Jones, who we all know as COINTELPRO, he is a part of the beast system. He is a operative of the CIA, but he pretends, of course, to be a victim. He gives you small truths, yet leads you into the left-right paradigm and keeps you obviously trapped as a gatekeeper, which is what COINTELPRO operatives do. So Kash Patel says, see you in Valhalla. And Alex Jones says it. And Valhalla, for anyone out there that doesn't know, is a U.S. Marshals Services witness protection program. In fact, we can even listen to David Clements, who is plastered all over Fox News all of the time over the last 5 years or so, who happens to be an ex-academic professor who left his career behind to rally for Donald Trump because he believed that the 2020 election were rigged and there was voter fraud. Here he is even talking about how the term Valhalla really is, in fact, code word for the witness protection program, and Valhalla is a holding place for people in the witness protection program before they are actually released into a community. This is a holding place where maybe we can all assume Charlie Kirk is.
Long and short of it is that you're on his stage. You know, when you hide, you go into witness protection. There's different ways you can create an identity. It's much easier to have a shared identity. And do you allow them free somewhere, or do they go to what we call Valhalla, some holding place that's not able to be in communication with the rest of the world, but as a community, and then you can bring them out later on.
Rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
They go to what we call Valhalla.
So obviously from the get-go, I've talked about how Charlie Kirk, the character, was killed off. Charlie Kirk, the human being, is alive and well. So even if you look and you do searches on these AI algorithms that tell us all the answers, we're supposed to believe everything that they say. Well, they even say it. Yes, Valhalla refers to the U.S. Marshal Service Witness Protection Program. This is right from the U.S. Marshal Service directly. Now, this is where it starts to get even creepier, but it's not really creepy because we know that the government leaves their calling cards on all of these events. They put this stuff out there for us to see, and then, of course, they laugh when we all break this stuff down because they have their disinfo agents mock us, use keywords like I've talked about with Pizzagate, like Hillary Clinton's trafficking kids underneath a pizza parlor in their local town, right? Making people just dismiss all of the actual evidence, all the photographs that were taken, all of the creepy photographs that were posted on Instagram, where if your neighbor posted those things, you'd call the FBI and the police on them. But they wanted you to just focus on it being a theory that was something that was in regards to the left and the right. It was a Republican conspiracy. Of course, that's when they really began the alt-right movement and getting rid of conspiracy theorists. But the goat tie-in here, okay? Pay attention to this. So Vikings believe that a giant goat whose udders provide an endless supply of beer was waiting for them in Valhalla, also known as Viking heaven. Now, you might remember this photograph. This was given to us from the government. This is not a crop photo. This was released all over CNN, MSNBC, Fox. It was released on every single controlled news media outlet. This is the picture they gave us, where a lot of us looked at it immediately and said, these don't look like natural photos. It looks like you just put them in a room and took pictures of them, and then you gave us these pictures as if these were natural photos of this character, Tyler Robinson. But notice his screen behind him, okay? You see that on his screen? It looks like he's on Google Maps somewhere. Well, if you actually look closer, you will see that on his screen is a location called Goat Island. And if you put it side by side with the image on his screen, you will see it is, in fact, Goat Island that is on the screen of the supposed shooter. Now, let's start with the obvious here. For anybody out there that has followed me for years and years, I've constantly exposed the goat symbolism, the goat, how they've taken the term goat and they've turned it into a cool cliche. Oh, the greatest of all time, right? We have goat surrounding us in our society. This is the normalization of the Baphomet. You may have noticed as well, there's a lot of people who are identifying as the opposite gender. This is the Baphomet movement that you're seeing from your friends at the occult. You see the Baphomet, the goat with breasts and a penis. This is who they all worship. Throughout pop culture, they have normalized the goat. We've seen it on the Rolling Stones album covers. We've seen it, like I said, with the greatest of all time, with Tom Brady, constantly giving us references to goat, whether it's his beer or just images posted in the mainstream media of him. They've normalized goat yoga as well. Drew Barrymore doing it on television, the Kardashians doing it, Kevin Hart doing it. Again, this obviously was a big way that they were normalizing not just yoga, but tying in yoga with goats. And yoga itself, which has become so popular in this world, it's a very popular thing. People get very defensive when I talk about yoga because they say, well, I do yoga, I stretch. What are you saying? I'm a Satanist? People don't understand opening yourself up to possession and how a lot of these things like yoga actually go back to the teachings of Aleister Crowley, 8 lectures on yoga. This is something that was pushed in satanic circles and now, of course, is a very popular mainstream thing. Wasn't so much so 50 years ago, but now everybody does some form of yoga. And speaking, of course, of Aleister Crowley, he is known as well not just for his satanic doctrine, which includes talking about normalizing and encouraging his followers to commit human sacrifice rituals for the greatest and purest form of magic. He also has this photograph that he painted, which is called 4 Red Monks Carrying a Goat Across the Snow to Nowhere, which is depicting a ritual sacrifice, of course, of a goat. And if you didn't know, the term that we all use for our children, people call them kids. Obviously, we've all been trained to speak that way. I say it all the time, and I have to catch myself and stop myself, but the term kid is also reference to a young goat. So back to the island. Of course, the government, because this is what they do, they leave calling cards, would have an island on his screen that is Goat Island, referencing, of course, Baphomet. And now if you look up Goat Island, you'll notice that right off of Goat Island, there's actually a Danish house called Valhalla. And this is a private resort. So there's definitely some dot connecting going on here, right? Where you look at Alex Jones and Kash Patel, and they're saying Valhalla in their speeches before and after Charlie Kirk, we're told, is dead. The kid has a picture of Goat Island in New Zealand on his screen, and of course, it's right next to Valhalla, and Valhalla is code word for the Witness Protection Program. Now, there's also Masonic lodges that are named Valhalla. Valhalla is a term used in chaos magic and visionary astral magic for empowerment. We know that obviously there's that game Magic the Gathering card. They have Valhalla, the Magic Gathering card, which is a spell that is used. And of course, what you're seeing right now done on the masses is nothing more than a major spell. Now, am I saying that if we all got plane tickets tonight and we all flew hand in hand, all of us, all at once, one plane, we went to New Zealand and then we went all the way up to Valhalla, that we would be able to find Charlie Kirk? Well, of course, that's not what I'm saying, because I'm sure they expect somebody to go out there and go to Valhalla. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they create a false flag and say, hey, this is how we got to this point. Some guy went to Valhalla, broke into this private community, caused chaos, shot a gun because he was looking for Charlie Kirk because he found out online conspiracy theorists were saying that Charlie Kirk was actually alive. It could be a setup for that. We know that they're 10 steps ahead of all of us because this is their game. They're the ones who can dictate every single move. They watch how we respond, and then they have moves planned out ahead of time. It's an unfair advantage that they have, especially when they're censoring free speech and preventing people from actually waking up to who they are and what they're actually doing. But there's a lot of people who are saying that if we went to Valhalla right now that we would find Charlie Kirk. I would guarantee you that we wouldn't. However, this is a reference to the fact that Charlie Kirk is in witness protection. That's why you heard it referenced over and over. That's why he said it in his speech. Why would he say it in his speech if it's pagan? If you're telling me that Valhalla, like I mentioned earlier, the expression Valhalla and its origins to Viking heaven, how would that tie in if Charlie Kirk is this devout Christian? Wouldn't Kash Patel know better? Isn't he a part of this MAGA movement that's pro-Christianity? Well, that would be very pagan of him. It's because it's code word. It's code word. And Valhalla is code word for witness protection. And that's why the word was used. And the Goat Island photograph, that might have been used to throw people off to follow this and think that he's there. That's the location. No. But he's definitely in witness protection. There's so much evidence that shows that he's not dead, that he's actually alive. The crime scene not being a crime scene, his wife's behavior, the bullet, no splatter behind him, right? The fact that that thing would have probably blown his head off, the rifle that they claim, the coding we saw with all the 33 coding with his hats from the 33-hour manhunt. I've broken down every single thing you could possibly look at. And it should be factual at this point that Charlie Kirk is not indeed dead, but you're not going to probably find him at that house. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if you find or see some type of false flag come out of it, whether it's just somebody breaking and entering or showing up on the property, because it does have some traction, the Valhalla theory. But this is what the government does. They might have put the picture on the screen, of course, Goat Island, right? By design, because of the Baphomet. They're always referencing the Baphomet. They're always referencing the occult. They're always referencing numerology tied into the occult with 33 and the mockery of Jesus Christ and the age that he was supposedly murdered and died. But there are too many things out there to actually think that these are all coincidences. If you do, you're just telling yourself that they're coincidences. Valhalla, is that a normal saying? You know, it's not like we're in Hawaii and this event occurred and he says, aloha, or Valhalla at the end of his speech. Why is Alex Jones saying Valhalla? Alex Jones, the most obvious operative in the COINTELPRO program that's still going on to this day. Other members, of course, included people like Martin Luther King, which I've broken down on the website many times. We obviously have Russell Brand and other members of Hollywood who are now members of the Truth Movement, who even have the number 33 tattooed on their bodies and still somehow can convince people that they're pro-truth, they're pro-them, because they're under hypnosis and they worship these false idols. So Valhalla, ladies and gentlemen, you tell me if that's a coincidence. The times it's been mentioned, the fact that even David K. Clements, who is a face of the MAGA movement, a former university professor, was openly talking about how it is code word for Valhalla as well. And Valhalla could mean, well, it means that you're hidden and you're in a waiting area, which is exactly where I expect Charlie Kirk to be. But Charlie Kirk is going to be somewhere probably north of Tel Aviv, in a little community that you can't find on a map, living out his days. If you think that the girl, Erica Kirk, who's being presented to us now, is actually his wife, think again. That's what people think. They're like, oh, that's too much to grasp because you're telling me, what about his wife? So he's going to go into witness protection. He's going to get rid of his wife and his kids. See, the MAGA movement wants to believe that. You know, the MAGA movement who thinks that there's a conspiracy that it's not really Tyler Robinson because they think that Israel was trying to whack him. Oh, Israel's trying to whack him. That's the whole purpose. They were trying to whack him. So they had to save his life to put him in witness protection. Trump saved his life and put him in witness. That's the current MAGA QAnon conspiracy that is out there, because they want to believe that. But Charlie Kirk is an asset of Israel, as is the entire alt-right media, which was created out of Israel. These people are not married to who they claim to be married to. That's what people can't grasp. So they believe that conspiracy because they're like, well, he's got a wife and kids. All right, I keep using the same comparison. So Obama shows up with kids all the time. Everyone thinks Michelle Obama's got a penis. So whose kids are those? Oh, well, he hires kids as actors. Oh, Charlie Kirk couldn't? Barely see the kids' faces in any of the photographs. The wife is already taking over, if you haven't heard, already taking over Turning Point USA. Is going to be the face of the MAGA movement. How ironic that it's going to be a female after all of the, I wonder how all these alpha males are going to feel about that in the MAGA movement, right? It's another joke. The behavior, obviously, of her is very easy to see, but these guys are not really married to who they're married to. So they go into witness protection. He just has another role to take on. He takes on another role. He's paid infinitely for the rest of his life. He doesn't have to go around to college campuses for the rest of his life. I mean, how long do you think Charlie Kirk was going to go on college campuses? He hit 31. Okay, what do you think? He's going to be 50 and he's going to go lecturing 20-year-olds? It had to end at some point. That part of this performance had to end. That part of this act had to end. And what purpose would Charlie Kirk serve without doing that? That's his whole shtick, right? Going on the campuses. Well, now we're going to see a lot of stuff on campuses with security, with obviously free speech and what people can and cannot say on college campuses. So he served his purpose. His character doesn't have a purpose anymore. Its purpose is bigger than it could possibly be now that they fake assassinated him, because now they could start this order out of chaos nonsense with what we're seeing right now. Canceling one another, free speech, debate about who could say what, all perfectly done. Charlie Kirk doesn't have a say in this. What do you think? He went to them and he's like, hey, I don't want to get fake assassinated because I love the fact that I get all this attention. They told him beforehand, hey, this is what your character and your assignment is. This is the character you're going to play. You have a 10-year run. You're going to build up trust in the conservative movement. You're going to say things that make sense because all you're going to hear on the news is crazy crap about how there's 52 genders. And you're going to go out in public and you're going to say things that everybody with common sense can resonate with, right? Okay. And he goes out. He does it for 10 years. People feel like they know him. They see his fake pictures on Instagram, which couldn't be faker. So formulated, the pictures that he takes. He's at the Grand Canyon, me and my wife at the baseball game, right? All cookie cutter crap. Same stuff you see at the school shootings when they give you the pictures of the family. Everyone has a Sears photograph of themselves, taken. Oh, the kid, everybody in front of a fence as the leaves fall during the fall. Isn't it beautiful? And there's little pumpkins out, right? All formulated. It's got the government's calling card all over it. So Charlie wouldn't get a say in it. Charlie's not going to go. He knew ahead of time this is what his job was. And then when you hit us, then around 30, 31, we're going to take you out of the public eye. You're not going to have to go to college campus anymore. He probably doesn't want to anyway. He's probably tired of it. Can't do it forever. And then we're going to make a big movement out of your name. You're going to be idolized and you could go live peacefully. You'll do other things for us inside of the Intel community. Bada bing, bada boom. That's how it works. So see you in Valhalla, Charlie. The psyops just cannot get any more obvious than they already are. Just be careful not to go down these government-created rabbit holes. That's what I warned with Epstein. Everyone knows Epstein's a pedophile. There's no doubt. If you look into the eugenics projects that Epstein was working on his Zorro ranch, which again, I'm meaning to cover some of these topics, obviously on the website, and I will. But if you look into that, what he was doing was breeding children, doing all sorts of disgusting acts because these people are obsessed with eugenics and living forever and creating their own race of human beings. So yes, we all know that he is a pedophile. But all the information that anyone's ever gotten about flight logs has all been fed to you by the government. Would you go to a place and get an actual flight log from a pilot because you saw him get off this plane one time and you found a flight log? I mean, They fed it to you so that you go down their rabbit hole. And that's what they do. So events like this, they're going to give you little oh, the Tyler Robinson thing doesn't make sense. Oh, no crap, it makes no sense. But they want to still believe that he's actually dead or he's in witness protection, one or the other, but he's still under attack from the Mossad when he's an operative of the Mossad. Will the Mossad turn on their own? Yeah. Like I said, they'll eat their own kids, okay? But there's really, if you look at the evidence of it, the fact they put the pavers and the cement down too afterwards, they didn't want anybody going around there finding out, wait, what is this? Is this fake blood? Oh, look, there's some red stains on the ground. Let's get a microscope, let's pick it up, and then realize, wait a minute, you can get this at Party City? I mean, that's why they put pavers down, and they did it quickly as possible because there was no real evidence, and they didn't want anyone to find any of the fake evidence. No bullet fragments, no crime scene, folks. Stage up, stage down, move on to the next PSYOP. That's how your government works. I thank everybody for being here. I hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families, as always.